internet, my name is Sisley and welcome back to my channel. So, you have all been asking for this and I'm very happy to deliver. I'm actually very happy when y'all collectively ask for something that I'm actually excited to do. So today is finally the day when I will rank all of the Madonna albums. And I have a feeling it's gonna be controversial. But please don't leave me, please don't unsubscribe because I ranked your favorite album lower. I hope that's a given, you know, like don't get upset. That's just my personal preference. This is not based on any ranking system. This is just me going through all the albums in Madonna's catalog and seeing how fondly I remember them pretty much, or how much I listen to them, how many of the songs from that album ended up being some of my all-time favorites, and stuff like that. So this is going to be just purely my personal opinion. Like my personal feeling, how I feel about those albums. This is in no way objective. It's just like, you know, me. Of course, before we start this video, if you enjoy my videos and feel like supporting me beyond watching them, please consider supporting me through Patreon. I'll put a link to my Patreon page in the description of this video. And also a very big thank you to the people who are already supporting me on Patreon. I love you guys so much. Your support means the world to me. Thank you. So yeah, there are 14 albums in this list. I am not including soundtracks because I feel like it's a little bit unfair to rank soundtracks with her studio albums that she made an entire concept for. And you know, like a movie soundtrack is a movie soundtrack, and a studio album is like your own masterpiece, your own creation of art that is not associated with any other piece of media. So that's another disclaimer that, you know, like movie soundtracks are not a part of this ranking. So at number 14 we have Bedtime Stories. Now I really feel bad about these couple of last places because I know that a lot of you were really excited for me to react to her 90s albums, and to a lot of you they're your favorite, and I just didn't care much for them. My favorite song from Bedtime Stories was Bedtime Story because that was a song that was, I think it was written by Björk, and a lot of you have been watching my channel and requesting Björk reactions and saw me react to her, and I really like her. I feel like Bedtime Story is the highlight from the Bedtime Stories album, and everything else I honestly just can't remember. I just can't remember, and I haven't listened to that album since I first reacted to it, and maybe a little bit afterwards. So yeah, to me it's just not the best. Definitely. Now at number 13. Oh, even more of you are gonna be mad at me for this one. At number 13 we have Erotica. Now Erotica is another big fan favorite, but to me, unfortunately, it was just not that memorable at all. However, the one song that absolutely stole my heart from that album was Rain. And if you've seen my reaction to that album, you know. Well, if you haven't seen my reaction to that album, what are you doing here? You need to watch my whole marathon. That was a lot of fun. Oh god, one of the best things that I've done in the past few years. So Rain was like, it stole my heart from the very first chord. I feel like instantly I could tell that this was the song, and I listened to that song so much. And like I listened to Bedtime Story too, but it was nowhere near as much as me listening to Rain on repeat on multiple occasions, and I still go back to that song. It's so fucking good. At number 12 we have Hard Candy. Now this album, it was fun. I remember it being fun. The music videos were also very fun, but this is not a music video ranking. However, I feel like the music videos also influenced my perception of an era. But Hard Candy was more fun in a nostalgic way because I really remember the singles very fondly. So that's why it's at number 12. Like, I like a few of the songs from that album, and it was pretty fun, and those songs do bring me joy. I feel like that's my entire ranking process. Like, I look at an album and I'm like, does this spark joy? Like I think it's called the KonMari method, you know, of cleaning out your room. Like, does this thing spark joy? So like, I look at the album and I'm like, does this album spark joy? And Hard Candy does indeed spark some joy. Next up is Like a Virgin. Now that had quite a few fun songs. In general, I want to put most of her 80s stuff higher than her 90s stuff just because 80s music is universally loved, and I just love 80s pop. It's so much fun. And Like a Virgin had quite a few gems in it. I haven't listened to many of the songs since reacting to the album, but I do remember it fondly as well. Next up is Madonna, her very first album. And that was, I remember it was, I can't even describe it. I was both intrigued and like had a good time dancing to it, but also I was kind of weirded out by how long the songs were. But it was just overall a very memorable experience, maybe because it was the first Madonna album I reacted to. I just really like the style that she had back then, and her outfits back then, it was so different. I feel like now she's more into glam, but back then it was just, full on grungy look, and I just really like that aesthetic, and that sound is, makes me think of happy things. Okay, so at number 9, we're going into the single digits now. At number 9, we have Confessions on the Dance Floor, and I know y'all are asking me to react to the tour. I'm still figuring out how to properly do it, but it is coming. I see your comments, and I will react to it. The album was a lot of fun. It's one of those albums where it's just a bop. I really love how, I listened to the one with all the transitions, and that was really cool. I love how it's just basically a dance album, kind of in the same sense, or in a similar sense that Madonna's first albums were. They were just more made to be played at the club, and I really appreciate that kind of music. Okay, at number 8, we have Madame X. I feel like that's another thing that I feel kind of bad for putting it this low, but I just feel like it fades in comparison with all the other albums above it. That's pretty much the only reason why it's in this spot. It's very politically charged. It's a very important album, but it's not an album that I gravitate towards when I think of, oh, I want to listen to some Madonna stuff. So that's why Madame X is in 8th place. I really did love the album, and I loved this era, especially the visuals. God, it was so good. And I mean, thematically, it was a great album. Next up at number 7 is Music Makes the People Come Together. Yeah. I still remember very vividly that I was fully prepared for this album to be average, because it was the first album after the 90s, and I'm not the biggest fan of pop music in the 90s and the early 2000s. I feel like that these are my least favorite eras in general in pop music, but then I was so pleasantly surprised. The whole thing was fantastic. The music videos were so fun. The album was a wild ride. A full-on wild ride. I really loved it. I just remember having a really, really good time, even though I expected to have an averagely good time, At number 6 is True Blue. Now, this album, I feel like, aside from another album that came out in the 80s. Aside from that, I feel like it's the highlight from Madonna's early career. I had some favorites from the earlier albums, but I feel like Love Makes the World Go Round was my first favorite Madonna song from her early career. The song that I put on repeat for days. I would genuinely listen to the song on repeat for days, just scrolling through social media at night and just having that song on repeat. It's so much fun. But ever since then, I really just fell in love with True Blue, especially, for certain reasons. It is such a cute love song. And also songs like Open Your Heart, that was also a really good song. So that was a really well-rounded album, and I feel like a lot of you were really excited for me to react to it as well. And I remember it fondly as well. It's definitely one of her best ones. Okay, now we're entering the top 5. This is the big guns. And I'm gonna get a lot of shit for it, I feel like. So at number 5 we have Like a Prayer. I feel like until I listened to Ray of Light, it was my favorite Madonna album, and because it's a classic. It's one of her absolute biggest albums, and I feel like it's for a very good reason. There were so many good songs on that album. God, it's amazing. It's so diverse and versatile, and it's just a beautiful journey. I mean, my favorite songs from that album were Cherish and Dear Jessie. I feel like, before that it was Like a Prayer, and that's a really good song, but after I listened to the album, those two were the ones that I obsessively listened to. Cherish, I even learned how to play on the ukulele. Granted, I'm not very good at it, but I learned it, and it's such a fun song to sing and play. It's just lots of fun. And then Dear Jessie was the most adorable thing I've ever heard. I couldn't believe that Madonna made such a song. It was like a surprise to me, and it absolutely captivated me. So Like a Prayer is like a universal, like we all agree that it's incredible. I just honestly did not expect that so many other albums would knock it out of the first spot. Now at number 4 we have Ray of Light, another big one. And when I listened to it, I was like, I know now. I understand now. I understand why for so many people it's the best Madonna album or the second best Madonna album, because it was an experience. It was just out of this world. It was unlike anything she'd ever done before. It was conceptual on a whole new level, and the production on it, god, that was a journey. I feel like production wise, that was the most exciting thing to listen to, because like while the I feel like the 2010s records are even more diverse in their production, like 2010s music I'm pretty familiar with, but this was like a whole new and explored territory, because I am not very familiar with early 2000s, late 90s electronic music. So this was an experience. And of course, Ray of Light is iconic. I listen to that song so much. It's so good. I listened to quite a few of other songs. I feel like my favorite song from that album is Drowned World, Substitute for Love. There's something so comforting about that song. Like there's just something very special about it, and I listen to it a lot, like a lot, even more than Ray of Light, I think. Now at number 3, and don't scalp me for this, we have MDNA. I feel like it's just me being partial to the music that shaped me. You know, like it came out in, when did it come out? I don't know. 2012, 2013, I forgot. Me putting MDNA at number 3 is just being partial to what's, you know, like that specific era of music. And I loved early 2010s music. Well, with some exceptions, I feel like 2011 was kind of a weak year. But 2012 was an amazing year for pop music. And MDNA, like I was so shocked that I wasn't into that album back then, because literally it seems like every single song was so good. I enjoyed it so much. The highlight for me from that album, even though there were so many cool songs on it, and I listened to a lot of them, my favorite song from that album was Gang Bang. And that is just the hottest thing that I've ever heard. Like, it is so badass, it's so edgy, so powerful. The production on that thing, god, makes me want to just bang my head. It's so good. I can't rave enough about Gang Bang by Madonna. That song is amazing. So MDNA overall, like, to me it was a great album. It was a fantastic album. Every single song was great, and it can be only topped by 2 things according to my list. At number 2 we have American Life. And when I heard that album, like after hearing music, I feel like in general, like hearing Ray of Light and thinking it can't get better than this, and hearing music and being like, okay, I did not expect it to be this good, and then hearing American Life and being, holy fucking shit, now that you can't get better than American Life. Apparently you can, but it's not, it's a very close call. So American Life is, I did not expect that kind of album to be one of my absolute favorites, but the energy that it has, the questions that it raises, the depth, the emotional and philosophical depth that it has, god, it sounds so pretentious, but it's one of the most well-rounded albums that I've ever heard in my entire life. Like, even albums that are my favorite albums of all time are not this well put together. It's just, I was amazed, and I'm still amazed. Of course, my favorite song from that album was still FM Static Process, or F Static Process, X Static Process. I don't remember. I remember that song was good. The lyrics were on point, but the energy in that entire album, I mean, come on. The most thought-provoking Madonna record. Like, Madame X is even more political than that, but American Life to me is the most thought-provoking record in Madonna's career, and it's just so well done in every single way possible. And now, at number 1, I don't know why I'm like doing this like dramatic reveal, because there's only so many Madonna albums, and you all know at this point what is at Number one. And number one, we have A Rebel Heart. And I honestly did not expect it to be my favorite Madonna album, but by God, it is. It's just perfect. It's exactly the kind of music, the kind of sentiment that I love. There's a lot of songs that are just very positive and very fun at the same time. Like, I'm just a hoe for that kind of music, you know? Just, it's my favorite. No matter how cheesy and how overdone, like, everything will be okay, just hold on tight and, you know, like, just have a good life. I don't care how cheesy, it makes me happy. This album, this era makes me happy. And not all songs were like happy-go-lucky, but my favorite song from that album turned out to be Rebel Heart. I listened to it so much and that chorus makes me feel so many things. The music videos were amazing in that era too, but God, that whole album, like, it has 19 songs, plus the 4 songs from the EP. I'm counting the EP, you know, with this album because it's just that good. I just wish it was produced a little bit better. But God, was that an absolute masterpiece. It's not like as cohesive as, for example, American Life. It's not as conceptually deep, but it's just closer to my heart. It will always be closer to my heart because it is the type of pop music that I gravitate towards. So yeah, Rebel Heart, best Madonna album ever until she makes a new one that's maybe better. So yeah, that was my ranking of Madonna albums. Let me know your ranking in the comments below, and once again, please do not leave me just because I ranked your favorite album too low. Madonna is a great artist, and you know, she's done a lot of different things throughout her career, and not all of those things will be liked by, you know, different people. So yeah, that was my ranking. I hope you enjoyed this video. I enjoyed making it because it's like a trip down memory lane, except my memory lane is like across the past 2 years and not the past 30 years? 40 years. God, it's 2020. It's 2020. It's nearly been 40 years since Madonna's first album. Wow, time flies. So it's been a trip down memory lane regardless, and I'm really glad y'all joined me on this journey. And like I said, there will be more Madonna reactions because when I figure out how best to do the Confessions tour reactions, I will do them. I'll do them for you because I'm very excited to see that, because I've never really watched a Madonna tour, and I know y'all have been wanting me to do that ever since I reacted to the Confessions album. So yeah, subscribe to my channel if you want to see my future Madonna reactions. And yeah, thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you next time. I love you guys. Bye!